Welcome back to Cryptos Are Us. I am George. We're all George. So welcome to another market open stream. Unfortunately, Bitcoin is not looking so good right now. It does seem like there is more dumping at the moment. Is the bottom near? Let's talk about it. Let's discuss everything that's going on today. And are we going to see a reversal sometime today? Let's discuss. Let's do it. All right, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As you can see, we're starting out the day at 86,000, which is less than last night. Last night we saw Bitcoin go down to 86. It bounced up to about 89 when I was still streaming. And then you could see right before market open, we had this happen. Boom. 89 down to 86 or 85 something for no apparent reason. And now we are bouncing a little bit, just slightly. The great thing is, it seemed like this was mostly just Bitcoin. A lot of the gains recovered yesterday by the alts, they held, which means there's really one party responsible for this dumping. And I'll get to it, but right now it's early. It does seem like we have bounced off of this 85.3. We're back to 86.2. Are we going to hold? Is Wall Street going to change his mind and buy today rather than sell? Let's see. NASDAQ is green today. NASDAQ is not deep in a red like yesterday, but this could change. Right now, it does seem like Tesla's slightly up. Coinbase, MicroStrategy, a little bit red. Nvidia's up huge. Robinhood is up. Okay, yesterday, everything dumped. And today, after hours, there will be a big Nvidia's earnings report. If Nvidia kills it, that could revitalize the tech sector once again. And tomorrow, everything could be going up. Because right now, Wall Street is just very, very, very uneasy about the economy and everything else in between. So they're just not sure how Nvidia's going to do this time. Nvidia's been killing it every single quarter, but because of the economy, they don't know if the other tech giants have been buying as many Nvidia chips. And what about consumers and retail and everyone? Just don't know at this point. So we'll have to see. So the market is early. Let's see what happens. Hopefully, US is not going to be like a bloodbath like yesterday. But yesterday, now we have the ETF numbers from yesterday. It was very clear. Very clear. And I think whatever's happening now is also from these guys. If you look at this, man, yesterday we had over $1 billion of outflow from all the ETF funds. So it was clear yesterday during the market, Bitcoin was selling off. Bitcoin was selling off hard. And the alts tried to hold what they can, but they couldn't hold when Bitcoin was dumping so much. But I did mention in the stream that the alts were actually showing more strength than Bitcoin because these Wall Street guys, at least some, not all, I don't want to say all because there are some that are still buying, but a lot are selling off all of their Bitcoin ETFs along with their tech stock, like Nvidia and Tesla and Google and Microsoft and everything else, right? They're just selling everything off at the same time. So that's definitely adding a lot of sell pressure to Bitcoin at this point in time. So, this goes back to my point. You got to take the bad with the good. Sometimes with these ETFs, when you have scary times like this, we have seen times like this before. Like mid-2024, when Bitcoin fell down to the 50s and 40s, we saw massive outflows as well, right? So we have seen times like this before when Wall Street gets panicky and then they start selling, and you know, this is what happens. You get massive amount of sell pressure. But when it gets good, you get massive amount of buy pressure too. And keep in mind, even with all the selling right now, which just sucks. Yes, of course it sucks. There's still a lot more within. So this is still just a small portion of how much has been taken into the ETFs. But right now, it's very obvious that Wall Street is very, very afraid of basically what they consider risk-on assets. And they believe Bitcoin and Bitcoin ETFs are. At least some. Again, at least some, not everyone. Here's also an example. Cathie Wood, she sold off her ETFs too. She sold off about $9 million worth, but she sold it off to buy Coinbase shares because she's a big Coinbase supporter. So not everyone is selling ETFs off because they just want to get out of the I guess the crypto market. Some may be selling it because they want to buy maybe MicroStrategy shares. MicroStrategy shares has been absolutely decimated. So there could be that. Or they want to buy Coinbase. Or they want to buy what's in the Exodus now. Right? There could be that. But right now, it's just because of all the uncertainty. That's the reason. And if NVIDIA has really good earnings tonight, that could change. It could reassure a lot of these guys that's been selling off. Like, okay, maybe we're overreacting. Maybe tech isn't as bad as it seems. And we need to buy back. And that's usually what happens. A lot of the people that sell off, they end up buying back at a higher price. And that's not what you should be doing. You don't want to be buying high, selling low, and then buying back high again. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. It's the opposite. It's the opposite. So it's pretty clear who's dumping. And right before the market opened, I do think a lot of people pre-dumped, thinking that when Wall Street opens, there will be more dumping. But right now, as you can see, we are actually climbing upwards. We are not dumping more. So this could be a very, very good sign right now. It's still early. I know. It's still early. It could turn around, but this is very encouraging that we're not seeing more red going downwards right now. I do think right before the market opened, we saw more of this. I think a lot of people pre-sold or opened their shorts right beforehand thinking that we were going to go a lot lower. I do think that was the case. But right now, it's very obvious that Wall Street's buying. But, you know, it's early. We have seen it turn around. Let's see what happens by the end of the stream and see if this continues upwards, which would be absolutely fantastic. Like I said, a lot of the alts that gained yesterday held most of their gain. They did not go down nearly as much as Bitcoin because a lot of the retail investors, you know, they've just been holding. They're not panic selling anymore. They're just the long-term holders. So right now, a lot, if not most, of the panic selling is actually from Wall Street and from the institutions, which is funny if you think about it. Because you would think that they are the strongest hands on earth, but sometimes that's just not the case. But of course, like I've been saying, it's not all gloom and doom. Not everything's always one-sided and it's all bad, even though it does seem like it right now. The fear index, by the way, is even lower today than yesterday. It's extreme fear at 21 when yesterday was at 25. That's how fearful it is right now. Okay, but like I said, it's not all bad. You still have, yesterday you had MetaPlanet that added Bitcoin. Today you have this Bitcoin Depot that added more Bitcoin. You still have a lot of people that are buying Bitcoin because they believe they're not going to be shook by this dip. Because we have seen many dips before. Many, many, many dips before. And we have always recovered every single one. So, yeah. So we're going to get past this. We will. Delphi Digital says Bitcoin has outperformed all cryptocurrency sectors this year. Well, this year has been only 2 months, but that is true. And it's really hard to outperform Bitcoin overall. Even my DCA portfolio proves that. Like Bitcoin, this is why I talk so much about Bitcoin, why I say you got to have a huge amount of Bitcoin in your portfolio, because during strength times, during weakness times, Bitcoin is what you want for that stability and growth. And this cycle, especially, Bitcoin has been proving itself. Not that Bitcoin needs to prove itself, but it's proving to all the people that's been only holding alts how important Bitcoin is. But like I've been saying, we have seen many, many dips like this before. Many, many, many dips. It's just that we tend to forget. We go through so many of these. I don't really quite remember the last few big dips that we had. I really don't, because we go through so many of them. Even in the last few months, forget the last few cycles, even the last few months, in December, in January, we had multiple big dips. Right? They're mid-bull market corrections. So whenever we have these corrections, you have a lot of people selling, panic selling, right? At a loss. That's not what you're supposed to do. 7 billion sent to exchanges being sold at a loss. So that's what a lot of the market makers, the whales, the people that are manipulating the prices, that's what they want. They want you to sell your crypto, because there's someone on the other end that's buying. It's gladly buying at these discounted prices from you, right? So this is very, very, very unfortunate. That's why a lot of times you get all these corrections and dips out of nowhere, and sometimes they make no sense. You just got to think who benefits the most. The ones that want to pick up cheap Bitcoin from you. In fact, right now, there is this. Some analysts are saying what we're going through is just one of the formations of the Wyckoff pattern, right? And again, what is the Wyckoff pattern? It's a way for big players, whales, to accumulate more. It's a way for them to drive people out. Make them panic sell so that the big players could accumulate at cheap prices. I just mentioned recently, Citadel is coming into this space. Out of all the times they could be coming in, they're coming in right now, right after the hack, right when we're having one of our major corrections. Take a second to think about that. And they want to be a liquidity provider. It's not like they're coming in to be a custodian. No, they want to be a liquidity provider, which requires them to have a ton of liquidity. So, again, you got to think about the motives of some of these guys, right? Like, it's in their best interest to get you to sell so that they can buy at low, low prices. And you might be wondering, well, at what point would you say that the bull market is over, that this bull cycle has been invalidated? Well, according to this or some analysts, Bitcoin would have to drop to $49,000 for this bull market to end. And you know what? I looked at this. I graphed it out. And you know what? I think this is accurate because even, you know, I was looking at the dip that we had in August, and I can show you guys during Q&A. We had a 30% dip when we went from 70 down to 49K back in August of 2024. I couldn't believe it, but it was a 30% dip. So even if we go 30% down from 109,000, that would bring us down to like 70K. So even if that happened, would that mean the bull run is over? No, because it has happened already. Last year, we had a 30% dip. We had many 30% dips in prior cycles. So why can't we have 30% dips this cycle? Right? So yeah, even if we fell down to 70K, like 7-0, the bull market would not be over. It would suck. A lot of the alts would drain out even more, but the bull cycle wouldn't be over. But now if we fell down to 49K, you could have a case for that. But even then, I don't know. I would still believe. I would still believe that we will come back and this cycle is not over. I don't know. That's just me. But so far, so good. Wall Street is buying, not selling right now. So we're almost back to 87. That's fantastic. That's what we want to see. So pretty good. All right, last few things, just a few stories. PayPal is expanding their new stablecoin to 20 million merchants. That's great because PayPal is absolutely huge. Although I never hear anyone talk about this PYUSD stablecoin. Not once. I've never heard anyone talk about it. But stablecoins are becoming a big deal. US is making it a big deal. Wyoming yesterday I covered, they're going to come out with their own stablecoin, either on Supra or Avalanche. So everyone wants to get in the stablecoin game because they're going to make a lot of money by doing so. Here we go. Department store debuts a stablecoin of their own in Singapore. Again, everyone wants to come out their own stablecoin. Even Ripple came out their own stablecoin. Everyone. Hey, Avalanche. They don't have their stablecoin, but they do have their own Visa card. They want to come out their Visa card. So you could pay for everything on Avalanche with the Visa card. Avalanche card. That's quite interesting. Very, very, very interesting. You can't get it yet, but you could join the wait list. I saw this. This is very interesting. There has been many like this in the past. I don't know if this is a debit card or real Visa card. That's if it's a debit card and you could spend your AVAX, that's kind of cool. And then lastly, I saw this Supra, which is the L1. They're launching all these DeFi tools. Okay, that I never heard of before. Auto liquidations. Not that that's a good thing. A lot of people have been getting liquidated left and right recently. Automated arbitrage, network-wide automation, like little things like that to help DeFi. And overall, right now, DeFi, not a whole lot of people talking about DeFi. The categories or niches that are hot right now are like AI, DePIN. DeFi is kind of like overlooked, even though it's very, very important. People just don't realize it. You know, so good for them. Good for them. All right. Hey, look at this. We're having good recovery. If we get right back up to where we were yesterday, 88, 89K, that would be absolutely fantastic. So far, so good. Seems like that mini dump was, again, just a way to maybe clear out some leverage, to fake people out, to scare people away, or maybe in anticipation that Wall Street's go dump more. But so far, so good. Let's do some Q&A. Yeah, NASDAQ is doing great today. You can see a lot of big recoveries. Robinhood up 7%, Nvidia up 3%, MicroStrategy barely in the green, Coinbase up, Tesla up. Good stuff. So looks like Algorand having a good recovery from the bottom. Look at it. It was undisrupted by today's dip. See, I'm telling you, a lot of the alts didn't sell off at all since yesterday's recovery. Yes, of course, it did go down from the prior days, but yesterday it found a bottom and it's still recovering from there, even though Bitcoin went down a little bit further. A lot of the alts have found their bottom because long-term holders are just not selling anymore. It's all the selling was just basically from Wall Street. SUI also looks like it found a bottom, starting to recover a little bit. That's great for both. XRP, yeah, it got a little weaker since this morning, but it looks like it wants to recover also. ADA, yes. Sol, yeah, Sol is still weak. Sol is still weak. It's a little bit lower than even yesterday at 147. It's toward the bottom of where it was yesterday. There's just so much FUD around Sol. I think it's going to come back hard, but right now there's so much FUD around Sol. ETH is also close to its bottom of yesterday. And then you got like H-bar. H-bar is doing good. Far off from yesterday's bottom. AVAX I just covered. Okay. Relatively okay. Good recovery. Good recovery. Nikki Pipe says, I wouldn't trust Nvidia into earnings. I don't know. Nvidia has always had good earnings, but they may be giving bad forecast. A lot of companies, even though they have good earnings, they may give a bad forecast and that crashes them anyways. I never understood why companies do that. They should just be quiet about their forecast if they think it's a bad forecast. But I guess they just don't want to hide it. FUD, how much do you think even the slightest lowering of interest rates will have on liquidity in the system? Quite a lot. Wall Street is really looking for cuts. So any cuts will do a lot, I think. Earlier, Aaron Kutchum sent a super chat. Still bullish on alt, VET. Yes, VET, neutral. Do you think MicroStrategy will break all-time high again this year? Man, I love MicroStrategy. I love Sailor. Okay, but I really am worried about his endless raising of money. You know, for Bitcoin. We all love for him to buy Bitcoin, right? There's no doubt about it. Everyone loves to hear about it. The only problem is, you know, he keeps selling off more shares, more notes to buy Bitcoin. I don't know if that just dilutes the, you know, the supply sort of, so that, you know, it doesn't go up. And now you have Strike too, which is another option. A lot of people say, well, Strike is not the same thing as strategy. I realize that, but still it's another option. As an investor, you still weigh which one to buy. So I don't know. It's premature because they had such a huge year in 2024. But ever since that short position that one hedge fund, introduced, and that was at peak, they have been going down and down and down. They can't even hit 400 anymore. I really hope that they can pull back to their all-time high. I have a lot of MSTR still. Can you pull up virtual? It's holding up quite well for AI. For last month, it's okay. 700 million, not the greatest. I remember this was a several billion, 2-3 billion a few months ago. But then again, all the alts went down. So, I mean, virtuals is a good product. It's a AI is it helps create AI agents. Obviously, very hot thing. It's not a bad project, for sure. Michael Saylor would never sell. That's not the problem. What he's doing is great for Bitcoin holders, for sure. Accumulating is all this Bitcoin. He has nearly 500,000 now. He'll never sell that. That's great for all Bitcoin holders. That's absolutely great. But for MicroStrategy shareholders, that's what I'm starting to question. Whether he's truly adding value to them, because, as a shareholder, he's saying he's adding a lot of value. You're getting yield. Bitcoin yield is how he says it. It's basically just how much more Bitcoin MicroStrategy adds. But how is that yield adding to shareholder value? How does it actually drive the stock price up? There's really no correlation. It's still based on Wall Street's speculation. So if Wall Street wants to sell it off, it doesn't matter how much Bitcoin Saylor has. There's no direct correlation. And if he continues to sell off more and more shares, then there's more dilution. So I don't know. I love Saylor. I love what he's doing. He's the biggest Giga Chad in the space, keeps on buying billions upon billions upon billions. I just don't know about the stock anymore. All these people asking about Pi Network, you guys need to cut it out, man. I don't get this whole thing about Pi. You get it for free. Okay, great. That's the sum of it. It's not something anyone ever talks about. It's not something that there's any greater purpose. There's no other I don't know, dApps that's coming on board. There's nothing. And every time it just seems like it just keeps on, it's been dipping ever since it came out. So I don't know. Um, here we go. Up 40% today. Not bad. Not bad. I guess this is why so many people are excited about it, because they've been mining it for like 4 years and they're all so excited about it. George, don't you get tired of looking at BTC prices every day? Yes. Yes, I do. When I get off stream, I really don't look at it. I don't look at my portfolio. I don't look at anything. I only look at things when I'm trading with, you know, with leverage. That's it. If I don't trade, I wouldn't be looking at prices at all during the day. I try to get off the computer and go do stuff, go exercise or go out and have lunch or something. I never look at prices. I only do it for you guys. It's nice to see that, you know, Wall Street is not selling off today. Wall Street is coming to its senses and saying, well, Bitcoin has fallen to a point where we should start buying again, right? So a lot of these people that sold yesterday, $1 billion worth of outflows from ETFs. A lot of them are buying back at a higher price now. So again, even Wall Street, even those hedge fund guys and those Wall Street traders, they fall for FUD too. And they've probably been, I don't know, working the streets in Wall Street for, you know, 5, 10, 20 years. They could be veterans of Wall Street. And they still fall for it. You know, you could argue it's risk tolerance and this and that and whatever, right? But at the end of the day, you look at their like year-end performance, almost none outperforms just holding Bitcoin or even holding S&P 500 or holding NASDAQ. That's the funny thing. If you look at the performance of these hedge funds, very rarely do they even outperform just the S&P 500. That's the thing. If that's the case, why don't you just hold the S&P 500 ETF? Like, I don't even get the point. And almost never do they outperform Bitcoin year to year, because Bitcoin was an average 141% growth year to year. And no one has that. Fear level at 21. We haven't seen fear levels like this since 49K Bitcoin. Since August of last year, we haven't seen fear like that. And we're literally double the price. So it goes to show you, it doesn't matter what price we'll be at. At some point next year, or maybe a few years from now, we will be at 200,000-ish. We'll fall down to 160,000. And we'll have the same kind of fear level. And I'll refer back if I'm streaming then. I'll refer back and say, hey, we haven't had this kind of fear level since Bitcoin fell down to 85,000. Which sounds funny now, but in the future, it will happen. Just like it happened last year when we fell down to 49,000. And 49,000 sounds funny if you compare it to the prior falls back in 2020 and 2021 when we were still sub 10K, sub 20K. You know, we would have loved to be at 49,000. Just like back last year, we would have loved to be at 85,000. And in the future, you know, when we fall to 160,000 and fear levels at 21, you know, it'll be the same thing. We would love to be at 160,000 right now. It's always going to be the same thing. I got my Lexus GX 550. Awesome. That's not bad. It looks manly. I don't know if you're an off-road kind of guy, but if I got that, I would definitely lift it up, put a 3-inch lift kit, and put on some all-terrain tires. That SUV was made for that. See, this headline is sad. This is what fear does. This is what FUD does. This is what I try to get you guys to avoid. You know, when it's scary, sometimes it's scary. When it seems like the world is collapsing, there's always another side to the story. But, you know, a lot of people, they don't understand. They let the emotions get to them, and they end up selling at a loss. And a lot of these people get out forever, and then they miss out. They miss out on a life-changing wealth or the financial freedom they would have attained had they stayed in the game. And it sucks. But, you know, some people do come back. They end up buying higher, but that's fine. It sucks, but it's fine because then they learn a valuable lesson. Nice. We're going higher. 87.8. I mean, yesterday during my night stream, we were like around 89K. And I said, hey, it would be awesome if we climbed up to about 92 this morning. Obviously, that didn't happen this morning because we actually fell down more, but we're recovering. If we get back, you know, the way we're going now, if we get hit back or get back to 89K, and then we actually get back to 92K by tonight, we will be in a really good shape. Really good shape to recovery. If we get back to 92K, we're out of the woods. Okay? Like, we're still way too close to the bottom to call it, you know, the bottom, and we're moving past that. That's what I said last night too. We need to get back into the 90s before we could call it. But it's really nice. It's really refreshing to see that last night Asia didn't sell off more. And really refreshing today to see that Wall Street is not selling more, even though it's early. It's very early. It could still change, but well, I mean, look at it. We started out like 85 something, and now we're back to 88. So Wall Street is definitely FOMOing back right now. That's very, very good. Very encouraging. Jordan, we need to close February above 102 to stay in a bull run. That's nonsense. We don't need to close anywhere to stay in a bull run. We are in a bull run. It's not going to stop no matter where we close. I take that back. If we close at like 30K, yeah, then maybe the bull run's over. If we close at 100K, we close at 95K, we close at 98K, we don't need to close above 102K to like lock in the bull run. That's nonsense to me. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Look at that. Nice V-shaped recovery from this morning. The good news is if you look at the bigger time frames, like for example, the 4 hour on Bitcoin, the 4 hour hardly moved. We were at extreme oversold level at 17 for RSI, even with, you know, the slight increase at 88K, we're still at 27. So we got plenty of room to grow. We're still in not extreme oversold, but we are definitely in oversold territory right now. Even on the daily, we're still at 29. We just hit oversold and we didn't even start flipping above. So that means we're pretty good. And on the hourly, we just started flipping upwards. So we got plenty of room to grow, to get back to where we were. 99.4 just on Friday. How awesome would it be if we got back to 99K by Friday? I don't think that's going to happen, but imagine how awesome that would be if we just went one full rotation in 1 week. We fell to 85K and then went right back to 99K. That would be awesome. But yeah, when you zoom out, we're overall going sideways, although today's drop did get us a little bit further down than the channel. But overall, we did go sideways. We got dropped down to November levels. But we're certainly not back to like down here, okay? Where we were for like 9 months of the year. I know most of you guys did not forget those times, including this one that dropped us to 49,000. And that was the last time the fear level was this low. So over here to over here, we are literally double the price at the same fear level. And in the future, we will be double the price at 160 or something, and we'll be at the same fear level. That's just going to be how it works. I should actually just draw that out. Damn it. I should do it on the weekly scale. All right. At some point in the future, we will be hitting this line again, I estimate. Somewhere up here. And we will be hitting the fear level of 25, 21 again. As silly as that sounds, that will be happening in the future. It could be this year. It could be 4 years from now, 3 years from now, but that's going to happen. All right, guys, I'll let you go. Overall, not bad. Had a good recovery from the bottom. We had a little scare at market open. Now we're back. A lot of the alts are recovering again. So, not bad. Not bad. Of course, it could be better. Wall Street is doing better today. Less scary. They're not selling off. And we got a lot of goodness still. It's never one-sided. And we got a big NVIDIA earnings to look forward to tonight. And we'll go from there. All right? Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys later. All right, take care. Bye-bye.